The 19th of December 2022, video 51p, whiskey for the festive season. You're very welcome back to the channel. I have a lot of subscribers now. My channel is about all sorts of things, and I don't confine it just to politics. It is the festive season. I'd love to be able to abandon everything political and all that. Unfortunately, it's not possible because there's so much going on. Now, I made a video 2 years ago called Whiskey for Christmas, and it's number 22. If you search the three dots on the top of my channel, you'll get the Whiskey for Christmas video number 22. And I then made another one, 22A, on Irish whiskey, and I went to a lot of trouble to make those. If you're interested in, a lot of people are not that interested, and a lot of people, when I tell them about it, they don't believe it. They don't believe it. I've had people arguing that all Scotch whiskies are blends, are blended whiskies, and that, of course, is utter nonsense. It's there if you wish to study it, or you wish to read it. You get the basics there of all the whiskey producing areas and how they're described and what the proper description is. I don't propose to go over it again. Video 22, Whiskey for Christmas, 22A, Irish whiskey. Now, so that's enough. Just remember, if you're the purist, Irish whiskey is either malt out of Bushmills or maybe Cooley or some of these. It's malt whiskey. You can get blends, of course. Ordinary Bushmills or Bushmill Black Bush is a blend. It's a blend of a lowland type malt with grain whiskey. But I prefer to go for either malt or Irish pot still whiskey. And pot still whiskey, 40% of the barley only is malted. And as far as I know, and up to recently anyway, it was only made by Irish distillers. It was made by them for Mitchell's, J. Mitchell and Company, Mitchell's Green Spot and Mitchell's Yellow Spot. Excellent whiskies, a bit expensive, very fine whiskies, nearly too good in a way, too good a quality, nearly. Excellent whiskies. And then there's Redbreast, which is out of the Jameson stable, all made at Middleton, and the same company. Redbreast is a pure pot still whiskey. You may not see pure on the bottle, you'll just see pot still. That's very important. But all Redbreast is pot still whiskey. Great whiskey too, with a little more sherry cask involved in it. It's a gentleman's whiskey, really. Now, a few years ago, and I'd say it was partly by the likes of myself complaining, John Power and Son used to make pot still whiskey, and in 1952 they stopped and they blended it with grain whiskey, 70% pot still barley and 30% grain whiskey, and it wasn't the same. It's not the same whiskey. It's great for hot whiskies, by the way. Nothing to beat ordinary Power's whiskey. It used to be 3 swallows and it used to be gold label. They've messed around with the label and produced a horrible label, but I can't do anything about that. But Powers is the best for hot whiskies. But now Powers do a standard pot still, about an 8-year-old with pot still written on it, and they do a 12-year-old pot still, and that is a fantastic pot still whiskey, a bourbon cask type whiskey. Now, do not confuse pot still whiskey with pot still character whiskey. Pot still character whiskey is a way around the regulations in which they put 30% of the mash bill of the corn is only grain and it's run in a continuous still. That's not pot still whiskey, it's only character whiskey. There's a big difference in the two. You have pot still and pot still whiskey. So if you want to go a decent drop, you go pot still only. Now, don't put water in them, don't put lemonade. You drink these are quality whiskies. If you go something like a 12-year-old, it's sacrilege to put anything through them. It is really sacrilege. You don't put ice or anything. There's unbelievable flavours in some of these whiskies, and that's part of the fun of it, getting this palate, the nose, the palate and the aftertaste and all of that, and that's all part of it. Now, there's also the American whiskies, and I deal with American whiskies there. I do like a drop of bourbon now and again. I have certain bourbons I like a lot better than others. A common one at the moment is Maker's Mark, and that is a very, very good bourbon. Maker's Mark is an excellent bourbon, and it comes at 40% and 45%, and it's available in most shops. It's a very good bourbon, excellent bourbon. There are rye whiskies, which are not for everyone. There you have to have a taste for them. And my old favourite is the corn whiskey, mellow corn whiskey. It's out of Heaven Hill Distillery, and that's George Washington's whiskey. That's George Washington's whiskey that's aged a couple of years. So anyway, we'll leave it. We'll not go into that. The Scotch malts. If I was going a Scotch, I'd go a malt. I'd go a single malt. There's sheep dip, which is a vatted malt or a blended malt. It's all right. So there's various ones, but this is an old favourite of mine. Now, Bill, understand that except for Connemara in Ireland by Cooley Distillery, all Irish whiskies are not peated. Scotch can be peated or not, and there's the various regions I give in those videos if you want to look them up. This is Old Pulteney, a seafaring malt. This is a lovely whiskey. It's a lovely unpeated whiskey. It is not peated. It's called a seafaring malt. To claim you can smell the sea and taste the sea of it, and it's an absolute fantastic package. It's a lovely present. It's very safe. It's 40%, which is grand for most people. You would never, ever, ever mix this with anything. This whiskey is aged 12 years in Scotland, on the east coast of Scotland, and it says a single malt Scotch whiskey, 12-year-old, and it goes on with all this stuff about it being a seafaring malt, and there's reading on it. You can read as well as eat. But there's Highland Park. This is about €32. Highland Park is another really good one, but it's heavily peated. And then there are several from Islay and all the other regions, which I give in that video. And I have to stop myself from going on about it, because someone said if you ask me for about whiskey, you need to bring the sandwiches. This is Old Pulteney, lovely bottle, and that is a lovely drop of whiskey. But you'll get other ones. That'll be now Christmas Day after the turkey. That will be the whiskey. I advise, if you get the name of having good whiskey, you need to have an old cheap bottle of Dundalgan or some other old cheap thing, because you'll have a lot of visitors if they think you have it. It's amazing how people know the difference, and they do know. When you get a drop of that, you know you have something special. It's lying up for at least 12 years, some of it 15 and 16 years. So that's basically it all. It's there in those videos if you want to become familiar. If you don't want to bother, then pick something Midland. Pick a single malt if you're going Scotch. Pick a straight bourbon. There's nearly no blended bourbons. There's nearly no cheap bourbons imported into Ireland. It's not worth the while. Nobody would buy it when you can get a proper bourbon, straight bourbon whiskey, or straight rye, or a pure corn whiskey. That's 80% of the barley is maize in the pure corn whiskey, or any of those. Nobody buy the other stuff. There's old overhoed rye as well, and there's Rittenhouse, and is it Bullet? There's some of those anyway. You'll see it on the packet. I might be a bit wrong about the names of those there. You'll see the different types, and it's in that video. So, but above by everything else, of course, we need to say people can become addicted to whiskey and alcohol, and some very, very sad stories. I don't know how you deal with that. I just don't know. All I know is I'll be having a drop of that, and if you use it in moderation, a bottle does a long time around. So that's it, folks. George Bernard Shaw called it liquid sunshine, liquid sunshine, and it's the quintessential Irish alcoholic beverage we are supposed to have. We both invented it and we named it Ishkabaha, and the water of life. So in moderation, it is a lovely thing, a lovely drink. The best, nothing compares with whiskey as a refreshing drink, and it's an aperitif, and it's also a digestive, helps digestion as well. To say it'll cure the heartburn, I don't know. There's many a song written about it. So folks, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. I've got under 10 minutes, which isn't too bad. If you didn't think it's good, to give me a thumbs down. We have to be fair, and we'll see you back for something else. So all I can say to you then is roll on Christmas Day. Sláinte. Bye.